Finally, man, finally got it working. I don't know what the hell happened, man. I was streaming for about a good hour on I use Restream to stream on Twitch and YouTube, right? Both channels. But I noticed that on my YouTube it was showing sending data indicator, where my Twitch it says, what does it say? I don't know what it says, but it shows like a little green indicator that's been connected. And then it would I just saw it like, man, it never went away. Like, that's odd. Let me just, I don't know why I did decided. I was talking and talking and decided, let me go check if I go to my channel, does it show that I'm streaming or not? Um, just out of curiosity. And when I went to my channel, it didn't show that. Now it is showing it. But again, it was not showing that before. Um, yep, now everything looks good. Again, it was not showing that before. Damn it, man. I was talking for about an hour, going over different things, whatever, and until I freaking realized that's not even streaming. So most of my views, especially when in general, right, streaming or whatever, um, come from YouTube. Twitch, again, I'm trying to work on building that up. For sure, I think a little more harder to build up than YouTube. YouTube, at least I'm getting some growth little by little bit. Twitch is very very slow. I almost feel like with Twitch, you need if you have a following, then potentially right they may go follow you in Twitch. It's not like where they just randomly stumble on your page. That kind of very rarely happens, right? But either way, I was just talking about all kinds of different stuff, and damn it, man, it just sucks, man. Cause I was talking for about almost an hour, guys, almost a damn hour until I realized it was not even streaming on YouTube. Damn it, man. I don't know if that has to do anything because I end up so those of you who watch my series that I have drinking with Lou on Fridays, I was actually in Top Golf this Friday, and I was trying to stream, took my iPad, and even did some testing the day before. Had issues there, connectivity issues. There was all kinds of Wi-Fi. There were just all kinds of issues, man. So like, damn, I couldn't get that done. Um, which sucks, but that's kind of just it's one of those days that right just kind of didn't work out. Um, so I missed my streaming series, but nevertheless, I was reconnecting stuff on my iPad to be able to stream, and it did work. I remember I saw it worked to and it streamed to YouTube and Twitch. I'm wondering if that did something though. I'm not sure what it would have done. It's kind of I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but it probably did something potentially. I don't know. I need to take a look at it. I need to take a look at it tomorrow, see what happened or why my stream is not working on Restream. When I hit again, it's the tool, software that I use to stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Um, damn, that sucks. But either way, um, so you're gonna see me streaming more and more during the week as well, not just on Fridays. Fridays is still gonna be my drinking with Lou series. During the week, it will just be hanging with Lou. I may be doing some work. We just talk. I'm gonna be talking about different things. But if you do got issues or questions related to programming, by all means, let me know. Drop in the chat. Be more than happy to take a look, right, and see what's happening. Um, but again, I'm not going to spend as much time on on um on these streams to really debug all the issues, right? If it's something that we could try to solve 5-10 minutes or something reasonable, then yeah. But if it's not, then yeah, just one of the deals that hopefully when we again save it for Friday, right? And then that's where we really would dig in deep and try to hopefully solve those issues. Um, so that's kind of the plan. Let's see. All right, cool. Um, So one of the things that I do want to, I mentioned it before, and I'm going to be making a video, kind of going more detail. Not a long video, it'll be a quick video, but I'm going to be trying to push out the message so you're aware of it. So I'm going to be giving away some of my stuff. I have a lot of stuff, a lot of keyboard, mices, the list goes on, right? Have a spare GPU, have a few extra CPUs, motherboard, RAM. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? A lot of cabling, wiring, things of that nature. So some of y'all may be in the need of it. You know, if you are, I'm going to be giving away some of my stuff. One of the items that I'm going to be giving away this month, this will be my first giveaway, is going to be this: the Microsoft ergonomic desktop keyboard. You know, you could tell kind of have that ergonomic feel. Then it has the number pad and mice along with it. Um, so I'm a mechanical keyboard kind of guy. When I bought this, I bought something because my wrists has been hurting, probably because I'm on the computer a lot. Not hurting, but just a little uncomfort, right? So I bought it for that reason. But this is not a mechanical keyboard. Those of you who are used to mechanical keyboard, there's a feel to a mechanical keyboard. There's just something about it, man. I really love the feel that mechanical keyboard have. The way you push the button, the way is feel it that you're pushing it down, and the way it releases and all of that. Um, you don't get that with a membrane type switch, right, on these keyboards. Um, Again, the ergonomic feel was good. I just did not like the key. I just, I just don't. Right, that's just me. But nevertheless, so which means it's not a very used keyboard. Like I use it a little bit, but all means have not been used much. It is in very, very good condition. So either way, I'm gonna be making a video, kind of giving more directions of how do you apply, right? How do you, I don't know what you want to call it, not register, but how do you qualify, or how do you how can you be part of the drawing, right, to win this ultimately. um and I'm gonna make a video kind of providing some steps, but at the end of the day, all it takes is you got to be a viewer, number one, and number two, as I give out certain items, if it's an item that you need or you're interested in or you want, then I will give you some steps on how do you apply for it. And ultimately depends on who applies for that month, right? If it's 50 people that apply, well, again, you got a better chance. I'm just gonna do a raffle drawing. Um, I'll either find an app to kind of help manage the raffle piece of it, or I'll create my own app. Right? That's something I may end up doing. Have my own app as well, and then just we'll build it, and then yeah, see how that works, the app. But nevertheless, though, we'll do that and then do a giveaway, and eventually every month, just be giving away my stuff, pretty much, right? So. But one of the things that I've been working on and wanting to do more and more is streaming in general, right? Like, so my schedule is on Mondays. I'll do content creation. Now, what that means is either I'm reviewing my list of videos, the requests that people have. So let's say somebody requested whatever somebody requested. I need to start doing testing over that, right? I don't just start making a video over it. I'll do some research. I'll look into the package that may be best to use for that project or that video. I will mock up some code to kind of test out to see what works, what doesn't work. Then once I get everything in order and everything's working, then I'll make the video. Depending on how long that takes, sometimes it could be as quick as 30 minutes, which means I can make the video the same day. Other times I may spend 3-4 hours doing testing, getting my code in order, doing all that stuff. So if it does take a while, then there's a good chance that I won't make the video that day. I will try to squeeze in the video the next day if possible. If not, then I will just wait on my next content creation day, which will be Thursday. So it's Monday and Thursday. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my streaming days in the evenings, which is today, Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it is Tuesday. Man, lost track of time. But today is Tuesday, and that's what I will do today. Right? We'll be streaming And for now, what this series will be called Hang with Lou. I may do some work, I may do some research. We'll just hang. Um, Again, do you have questions? By all means, drop it in the chat. Love to hear your feedback, hear how you're doing. We're just hanging out, and we can just talk about whatever, man. And then, of course, on Fridays, I'm still gonna have my session of drinking with Lou, and that's what we do. We drink, we talk tech, we solve problems. So if you really have issues, code, whatever it is that you want me to look into, that's the day to join. Join that day. We will dig in deep and try to find a solution for your problem if you have one. So that's kind of the schedule for now. And then of course the weekends will be kind of up in the air. There may be some weekend that I stream Halo, other weekends that maybe I make some videos, right? I would like get caught up for the week, or get maybe not caught up but get ahead of the week. If I have some videos that I have in mind that I'm going to make, maybe I'll start doing some testing and research over the weekend, so when Monday comes I'm good to go, just make the video, right? So that's kind of the plan. So for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look into something. Here, let me put this up here, just in case I could see if somebody sends me a chat or not. I don't know if I'm trying to see if I would get an actual message in my mini feed in Streamlab. I guess we'll see if somebody sends a message or not. But what was I gonna do? Yeah, let me go to my browser. So one of my clients. So I do web development. That's what my company that I have. That's what we do. We focus mainly on, again, like web apps, APIs, data integration, again, EDI integration, all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is it's kind of like the core of it. We do a lot of data processing. One of my clients, we extract a lot of the file that they receive from like pharmacies. It could be Excel. Most of their Excel files, all different formats. There's all kind of issues when you're dealing with Excel. That's all a different story. But nevertheless, we extract it, load it to the database, normalize it, and then ultimately generate reports for them. But that's just an example of a few different things that we do, right? With database, with web development, API integration, so on. Well, at one point, this would have been a while back, I took on some business that I don't do no more, but at the time I was doing. Um, and I don't know why. I look back at it, probably should not have took it. I think I took it because at the time I was like, all right, well, I'm trying to grow, right? So let me just take any business. That's a mistake as well too. That's a whole different story. I'll make a video on that some other day. Either way, though, they needed somebody to kind of help to manage their website. And at the time, I was like, all right, that's cool, right? I mean, there's nothing. They're not asking. I think at the time there were like some small changes they were asking for, but besides those small changes, that's it. It was just small changes, nothing else. So in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I can make those small changes, got it done, and then they want me to manage it. And there was really no major requests or issues that came up after that. And of course, it's a WordPress site, uh, deployed, using cPanel, all of that stuff. I know enough, but I don't really like doing WordPress type work. Maybe again, there's features, there's things to do in WordPress that are like programming type. I mean, you do need programming skills to do, but I'm just not a fan of it, man. I don't like it, right? Um, and because of that, I probably should not have never taken this on, like to manage that. Either way, they're having issues now, and so not a new issue; it's an existing issue. What happened was, I think the whole company switched to Mac OS. I don't know why. Maybe, who knows, right? But you know, I don't think there's a true need for that. It was just more of a, hey, everybody has Macs. Macs are cool. Let's get a Mac. That's what it seems like to me, right? So that's something I could think of. Either way, that's what happened. So now they have Macs. So they realized, I guess, when they went to their browser, to their website on their new equipment, when on Safari, again, the browser being Safari, they have this video image that pops up and it kind of shows this animation. Well, that video is in WebM, um, which is the HTML5, video format. Well, it doesn't work on Safari. It works on Chrome. It works on Chrome on Mac OS. It works on all these other modern browsers, but it doesn't work on Safari. I have no idea why, man. So now when he sees it, like, hey, it's not working. There's an issue. So of course I like, well, when I looked at it, I use Windows and Linux. I looked at it on my Windows machine on Chrome, not Chrome, Brave, same thing ultimately, right, to some degree, but Brave. Then I went to my Linux machine and looked at it there, and everything worked. I was like, well, it's working. I don't know what he's talking about. It's working to me, based on what I could tell. Until eventually they told me, like, yeah, I'm looking at it on my Mac and I don't see it working. Of course, I'm like, well, let me check it out. Maybe it's Mac related. And of course, I have a Mac as well, so like, well, it's easy for me to take a look at it. So when I open it up in Chrome on my Mac, it works. So like, well, there's no issue. What the hell? So like, you know what? Let me try Safari. There's a real good chance that they're not using Mac. They're using not Mac. My bad. They're not using Chrome. They're using Safari. Take a look at Safari. Boom, it doesn't work. So for some reason, video M files do not work on on Safari browser. So I ended up kind of doing some research, looking into it, and I found that it doesn't work. So like, well, what the hell? So I don't know. So now that I know that, and of course he's very pushing on it, like, man, we need this fixed. Um, and maybe there's some viewers that are going to their website. Again, it's one of those situations where you gotta be a Mac user. You gotta be using Safari. Not everybody uses Macs, even though I get Macs are very popular and people do have them. People don't have Macs as much as they have Windows. They just don't, right? It's one of those deals where at the end of the day, you're gonna have majority of people still have Windows, and that's what ultimately, what most people are using. So for the most people are watching or seeing that animation on the website. It's just going to be a smaller percentage of people that happen to be using a Mac, and on top of that, they're not using, let's say, Chrome or Brave or some other browser. They happen to be using Safari, which I don't like. I have a Mac, but I don't use Safari at all. But I do feel though there are people that have Macs, especially the people that are not like tech savvy people. I feel like are the ones that are more likely to just use what comes with it by default, right? Which if it happens to be a Mac, Safari, it is what it is. So let me look into that piece. I think I had it on I think I was actually looking at it on my MacBook Pro. So let me move my keyboard over now. I could look into that here. Hopefully all of y'all doing good, man. Again, you're gonna see me streaming a little bit more. They actually got some more water. So stop in. Again, be more than happy to answer any questions, programming, business, doesn't matter, whatever questions you have. So let's see. And again, I'm not a WordPress expert at all. I have dabbled into it a few times. I have worked on WordPress sites, a few of them for some of my clients. But I never used one with a cPanel. So the one thing that I'm not sure about it, and maybe anybody who's a WordPress expert out there could kind of shine in, is Do you have some kind of UI when it comes to like building your pages, or is it all strictly manual, like literally just raw, text files that you're putting together for your styling or whatever? Um, like WordPress itself, right? Like the WordPress application, that does have like the UI aspect of it where you could add pages and do all of that. I'm just trying to see how do I know. Let me see if I think their website may have it, right. So if I go to their website, if I were to do /admin, if it takes me to a login page, that's number one. I'm trying to see. Hey, there we go. It did take me to login page. Now let's see if I could actually log in. I don't know what the login is. I don't think I ever received. You know what? I think I did, but where is it? I may have it in my OneDrive account. So let's take a look at that. Let's see. So here's my thing too, man. Like I'm very diverse. I feel like when it comes to my equipment. Um, like I'm not a Mac guy. I'm not like, oh, I'm all Mac all the way. Samsung sucks, Windows sucks, or none of that, right? Um, I actually use all three. Kind of hard to tell, but on that side, I have my workstation, which is Linux. Right here, the computer that I have in front of me, these two monitors or three monitors, my computer to the side, which I do my streaming and game playing, is Windows. And then, of course, in front of me, I have a MacBook Pro. I use all three. I've had this MacBook Pro. When did I buy it? When it came out in 2018, like maybe like 3 months after it first got released. So I've had this since 2018. We're in 2020, so we're talking about almost 4 years now. Um, I have been using Linux for a few years as well. I would say even longer than Mac. Then of course I've been using Windows forever. Way back, I guess I don't know. Whenever I got introduced to it, right, way back when. My mom actually used to work at what was it? What they called Radio Shack at the time. We called Tandy, I believe. And so she got big discounts. We used to go to like their outlets. She used to get her whatever 20% additional or 25% discounts or whatever. So I remember ended up getting a computer, and of course they had Windows on it. Man, what was it? Was it Windows 3.1 maybe or something? It was a while back. Back when computers were not stylish, literally just a big old vanilla case, and that's it. Um, but at the end of the day, man, it's preference, right? Like it's more like, is a Mercedes better than BMW or better than, or I don't know, right? Whatever other luxury car out there. Maybe, probably not. I mean, it all depends what you like, what style you like, right? Your flavor, pretty much. I think the operating system, they all get the job done. A lot of them have the same apps that you can install on the same on each operating system, and each app works identical, works the same. So at the end of the day, like they're getting the job done. At the end of the day, right? It just depends on what you're gonna do. I actually like Mac the UI. I do. I like certain features that I got very familiar with when it comes to like moving over from page to page. Windows have that, but it's more of a, you see your page, or you can just switch back to the one you're at. I like the Mac where you kind of swipe left or right type deal. Um, and they're just, again, for me, I think the UI is a lot more modern on a Mac, and it's been that way for years. Windows trying to do that with their Windows 11, and I think they're kind of succeeding on that. But Mac has been there a long time ago, way longer, and I do feel that Macs are more optimized on using less resource to get better performance, right? So even like this machine, this is almost it's a 4 year old um, MacBook Pro. The CPU that it has inside is a i7, maybe Gen 8, 7. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to think. What generation of CPU it is. Let's see. What is it? Let's go to about this Mac. Um, I can't tell what. It's an i7, but it only has 6 cores. Dude, like none of my CPUs that I use have 6 cores no more. Like the lowest one that I have. Well, you know what? Let me rephrase it. Maybe. I think I have a Gen 10 i5. That one probably has 6 cores. But again, that's the i5. The i7, I have a Gen 11 i7. Well, that's 8 cores, not 6. And at a higher, this is a 2.6 gigahertz. The what I have, what's the Gen 11? Is it like 4.6 or whatever? Like again, way faster, more cores. The RAM as well is using 24 megahertz DDR4. Dude, everything that I use here at the lowest, cheapest end is like 3200 megahertz. Uh, you know, and then of course 16 gigs. I don't think none of my piece of equipment has less than 16 has less than 32 gigs. It's either 32. Like I think my workstation has 64. My gaming station has 32. My other, I have another PC over there that I believe has 32. Then of course I have a server that has like, I don't know how much it has, man. 128 gigs or something. I don't know, um, but I would say it runs smooth still. Like even though I'm saying what I'm saying to, like this is really not good specs at all. If somebody were to release a piece of equipment, but it runs some good deal. Still running my apps. Things are still running smooth. I think that where a Mac is very excel at, like because they make their soft operating system and they pick the components they want to make. And this is like older generation. Now they're making their own chipset, right? So now they're making their own chips. They can make it and program it in a way where it's very optimal to work with the operating system and all of that. So even if it's like on a spec sheet, it's not the best specs out there. Like there's other CPUs that are better performance because they have the advantage of making the OS and doing all that. Dude, there's so much stuff that they do that makes it, I feel, faster. Just kind of work well. But this is what I don't like about Macs. I feel they're a bit expensive for what you're getting. Again, if I were to go buy like what when I bought this back then, it was $3,000. If I were to buy a PC, right, not a MacBook, but a PC back then with a lot of the similar specs, it would not have been $3,000. It would have been $2,400, maybe 2,200 bucks. Again, it would have been hundreds of dollars less than what I paid for this. Hundreds less. And to make it even worse, is whatever I would have bought, right? Let's say if I would have find something for 2,400 bucks. There's a good chance that like there's options by all means, so it would have been up to me to pick the option that fits best. But I would have been able to pick a piece of equipment that I could update. I could expand on my hard drive, right? Or my SSD, better yet. I could replace the battery. If the battery goes dead, and most of the time, be as simple as order another battery. I could take it somewhere. I could buy it myself, do it myself. Like you have those abilities. You cannot do this with a Mac, man. That's what I hate. Like if it has nothing to do with you can't find the hardware. Even if you go find it, you can't just swap or add more RAM to a MacBook Pro. Like this one has 16 gigs of RAM. Well, I would like 32 gigs. And the reason why I would have liked 32 gigs, especially back when I was using this as my daily driver. I don't use this as my daily driver anymore. I use it when I travel, but it's not my daily driver. When it was my daily driver, I used to have parallel desktop open often, which is a VM. So I now have resources running there. So my RAM, I was using easily 80% of my RAM, because I'm doing stuff. I may um, have my VM open, those apps running. Then of course I have my browser running. I have a database management tool running. I have my command line. I have Sublime Text. I have remote desktop. Like I have all these apps that I'm using open, right? So I'm easily 70, 80% utilization of my RAM, right? Like just like that. And that's kind of where it would have been ideal to be able to expand. But you can't do that, man. You can't do it on a Mac, on Apple products, and that's what I hate, man. Like I understand when it comes to for phones, you know, especially nowadays, at least with phones, I keep most of my stuff in the cloud, so I don't even come close to utilizing my storage. And of course, performance. I mean, it's one of those deals where you know can kind of a phone is expected not to upgrade, right? Like you as an individual to put in a new chipset. That's understandable, but on equipment like a laptop, that's normal, man. Not just a laptop. Let's say even their desktop, their what is it? Their Mac Pros series, right? Or whatever. It's like you're limited on what you could upgrade. Like I believe you could add like more RAM sticks or whatever, but there's certain things that you cannot change. You can't upgrade. And I don't get that, man. Like, why do it that way, man? Like, you already make so much money as it is, dude. Like, you're like the amount of money that you make, and then for you to intentionally not allow people to upgrade. I don't know if the assumption is like, oh, if we don't make them upgrade, then they're forced to buy another piece of equipment. But I don't know how true that is either, because there are people that I know that you have MacBooks and they're even older generations, right? Don't What is it, 2012 generation that came out? I think that 2012 was like the ideal generation. It was like that perfect generation that everybody loves so much. They're still using that. Again, if you use it for basic stuff like email and video and just real basic stuff, that gets the job done. They haven't upgraded, right? I mean, so I don't know, man. It's for people like me though that actually utilize a lot of like applications that use a lot of resources and things of that nature. Dude, it sucks, man, not to be able to upgrade, and that's what I hate, man. If they would have given that ability to do that, I think I still would have been okay of paying a premium price. Because that's the other thing too. That does bother me too. But I get it, right? It is, you are paying more. Part of it could be because of branding. Part of it, I think, is because of they do add certain features that are high, like the casing of this. It's a nice case. It really is. Keyboard is not the best. I think the keyboard is more, they put R&D into the keyboard by all means, but the keyboard sucks. It was like their worst keyboard ever. Screen is awesome. Screen is very nice. So there's a lot of features that makes it a solid, right? Like, it pretty much makes it like a high-end PC laptop. Um, so I think knowing that, like, all right, I get it, right? You're paying a higher premium price for it. Um, but I hate, dude, that bothers the crap out of me of the not being able to upgrade, which is why I don't think I'm ever gonna buy another MacBook Pro. This will be my last one. Now this is still good, and anything that I need to do that relates to a Mac project, let's say if I need to build a iOS app using Swift, well, I have a MacBook Pro that I could do that work on. Or just like today, right? My client, one of my clients, have that issue where like, hey, this doesn't look good on a MacBook. Well, I have a MacBook to look at it now, right? So it comes in handy in those cases, and I still use it for travel here and there. But eventually, I mean, I'm going to get a new one. I'm just not in a need to get one now. Probably wait another year or two. And the reason I say that, because I really haven't traveled much, for one. Most of my work has been done here at home. COVID and all of that. But I have always worked from home anyways, right? So have my office here in the house. We just haven't been traveling because of COVID, really. We did travel once. We took a Disney trip in the November. And I took my equipment with me then. But besides that, really haven't traveled, man. Haven't really been a need. So, I mean, again, if I start, especially if I start to travel more and more, for whatever reason, maybe to meet with clients or business reasons or whatever, then I think I am gonna pull the plug and get another, um, get a laptop. But it won't be a MacBook Pro, man. It's not. I like the UI, I like it all, but I don't like the restrictions that come with it and the extra price you gotta pay for it. What I am gonna get, would be, I looked into it too. Let me bring it up real quick. What is it called? Frame. I think it's called Framework. Laptop. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. So my next laptop that I do end up buying, it's gonna be this. And overall, it looks solid, man. Like it kind of has some resemblance to a MacBook. I don't know how good the quality screen is. That's the only thing I was kind of iffy. Like, it doesn't say like if it's 4K or nothing of that sort, right? So I'm not sure, but it looks overall it looks okay. Um, but here's what I like about this though. They're very big, very big. They provide the schematics of for you to fix it yourself if you want to fix it. Everything's open. Um, what really got me, this is what I really liked about it, was the modularity of it, right? So let's see, let's go to do it yourself. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. See how we have these modules here, these little modules. I believe you could put two on each side, so two and two. And I'm trying to see if we could see one. Here it goes. So these modules that you could easily add one to expand your, um what is this? Let's take a look at it. 1 terabyte expansion card. Uh we have start to throttle. The extent of throttling would depend on the specific workload, card, ambient temperature, applying a thermal pad, blah blah blah. Card, you can manually apply a thermal pad manually. So what? I'm not sure what the hell this even does. I don't think this is using the T5 bit of the framework screwdriver. Blah blah blah. That's not it. Oh, okay. So this even allows you to add a thermal pad. So that's what it is. This is actually a 1 terabyte. Think of it as a stick, an expansion. Instead of having a USB drive that you can connect to it, this is modular. You can connect to it, and it's a 1 terabyte expansion card. But that would just show you how you could like add the a pad for heat to reduce to remove heat. Here's this guy, the Wi-Fi. You could add that guy again. If something breaks, you could easily add it yourself. Webcam. If your webcam, I mean, look at all this crap, dude. If anything breaks, they give you the steps on how you could fix it yourself, guys. Like, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that Apple would never do, man. They don't do. Motherboard reset, trackpad cables. What else? What else can we change here, right? Display. There, if your display breaks, dude, you could change it yourself. You could buy the parts from them, order it. Display. So this is what I like right here. Let me zoom in. See how you have these little modulars? Well, you could put whatever the hell you want in here, right? One of them could be a USB-C drive connection. I mean, the other one could be a 1 terabyte extension expansion card. Another one could be HDMI. Another one could be USB A if you want, right? I mean, you could add whatever. And because it's modular, you can have extras in your backpack. So depending on what you're doing at the moment, you can just swap out of it. Like your 1 terabyte, if you're not using it, take it out and put the other one in, whatever it is that you may need it for. Like, man, that's awesome, dude. Like, I think that's very, very cool. And price tag is not bad overall. Like, let's go back to the laptops. How do I go back? So let's say we wanted to buy a laptop. Right, overall, it kind of looks similar to a MacBook, right? I mean, I don't know if they did that intentionally or what, but See, they even have the little symbol. I almost feel like they kind of took some of their style. Um, and what did they come with? 3 configurations: 11th gen, i5, i7. So what's the 3 configuration? What's the other configuration? So let's say configure now. So they have i7. That's what it is. So what's the difference here? So like this guy, this is a $2,000. Think about it, 2,000. A MacBook Pro is probably around 3 grand or 3,200 right now for 32 gigs. This is 2,000. 1 terabyte storage, Wi-Fi 6, V Pro, Windows 10 Pro, which you could always change it, right? This is if you want an operating system. I use Linux, so in my case, where can I move that? There it goes. Can I change operating system later? Yes, you can. You can also load it with the Linux. I think there's a way to do it up front. Let's click on next real quick. Keyboard. There's only one keyboard. It's overall it's a solid keyboard, man. I think it's pretty solid. When will other keyboards be available? So it seems like they're working on other keyboards, but they're just not there yet. Can I replace the keyboard? Yep. So if the keyboard breaks, boom, replace it. You're good to go. All right, let's see. So we got a message. Python developer. Let's see what he's saying. How to move data from SharePoint to S3 bucket. So have you seen the video? I do have a video that I made. I don't know if that's something that you took a look at yet or not, but for example, let's go to my channel, YouTube. Yes, it's via code. So are you asking about the, let's see, do we have any AWS services? Well, AWS. So you do, in order to use it, you do have to set up a identity user. You know, you do have to create your user account, set up that profile. Then when you set up the profile, you know what? I can show you real quick. I'm gonna use the account that I've been using for that I use for testing only, right? My AWS account that I use for testing. So let me, oops, there it goes. Let me put this to the side real quick. So let me log into my account. Alright, so let's see. Now that I'm connected, let me just check a few things. I need to check my region. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen now. Just want to make sure there's nothing that's kind of sensitive on here. So let's see. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen now. Okay, so in your AWS account, you do need to go to your identity and access management, right? So, like in my case, I created a profile, and let's walk through it, right? I'm gonna just create a dummy one, and I'll delete it once we finish, so it's not an issue. Let's say if I'm gonna create a new user. Let's see. Requirements is data getting uploaded to SharePoint in one folder, but I need to trigger and reflect the same data in an S3 bucket. So if you're getting data loaded to one folder, then that should be straightforward when it comes to connecting to SharePoint to download those files. That in the video that I made, kind of provided some steps on how to download the SharePoint files. So again, that's very more of a you're pointing to one folder in SharePoint, and then you just want to download all the files that exist in that folder. And ultimately, what's gonna happen is you're gonna download those files. Let's say it could be locally on wherever the script is gonna be running. You could just download it temporarily in that, on that computer. And then that's where the next step would be to take those files locally, and then you're going to upload it to your S3 bucket. Um, and that's kind of what that code would actually handle all of that. Yes, via code it works, but without code, just via AWS, or do we have connectors? Not sure what you mean via code. Are you saying like another way to upload it to AWS, like the AWS command line interface? Is that what you're kind of referring to, like without code but just via AWS? Because the only way to upload it to AWS without the so let me kind of show you the other way then. So there's what's called an AWS command line interface. So this guy here, and this is what you would need to have installed is the command line interface. Let's see, where is it at? Where we need to download it. Where is it? Oh, there it goes. I saw it right there, man. So see over here where it says download and install 64-bit. So if you're using Windows, just download the Windows version. So let me go ahead and download it, and we'll kind of walk through it. So the way this works, so I actually don't have it installed on this computer, but let's go ahead and walk through it real quick. Actually, I'll get it installed as well, and we could like play around with it. But so whenever you do install it, when you go to your terminal, if you were to type AWS, right now it doesn't find it, but ultimately it'll find that that command line. So let's go ahead and get that installed real quick. Let's agree to everything. Yep, that'll work. Install. So by using the command line interface, so keep in mind that this is strictly for AWS, right? Because AWS, it's not gonna do anything when it relates to SharePoint. Like it's not gonna be able to download the file from SharePoint because again, AWS has nothing to do with SharePoint. But if you do download the file from SharePoint some other way, it doesn't matter. Maybe you do it manually, even it doesn't matter. But you get them downloaded to your computer somehow. This is where let me go ahead and open up a new terminal real quick, a new command prompt. So now if I type AWS, now it finds it. And now there are certain commands that we could run to be able to do certain things. So for example, let's say we want to upload files from a specific folder over to AWS, a specific bucket in AWS. So like for instance, let me open up an S3. Let me go to S3 real quick. So I have this folder, right? The YouTube storage, bucket. Then I have a staging. Then of course I have my other files in there. So let's say if let me try to find a new let's see. I think I have some test files here somewhere. Okay, here's a good one. Let's do this. So I have this file here, this folder here of these just random files, right? So it could be whatever you want to upload. So if we want to do it via the AWS command line interface, let's see. While working in production, we need to schedule jobs, right? So a job that can pass SharePoint data to AWS S3 without any code. This is the main business challenge working at Amazon, FYI. So if you're trying to use zero code at all to accomplish that, so there are some ways to do it, but let me show you something real quick. Or let me try to show you something real quick. Only way that I think you could do something like that is going to be more so using a tool. So it's not going to be like building something to make it work. Because again, that's what I've been doing in my videos and more coding to kind of accomplish that. But there is other ways that you could do certain things similar to that. Let me kind of show you, but I do need to hide certain things though before I show my screen, and kind of show you this software that I use. So this is what I actually use in production to automate certain jobs in my company. But let me just consolidate everything real quick. There it goes. All right. So let me go back and share my screen. So for me, one of the tools that I use, it's think of it as kind of like Windows Task Scheduler, but way more advanced, way more features to schedule jobs, to automate, to do certain things. So I'm gonna just go to add a job, just for testing purposes. But a tool, something like this, is kind of what it sounds like you're kind of looking for. I don't know if in your company y'all use, like, I don't think this would work, but I mean, tools like PowerFlow, like Microsoft PowerFlow. I know there's some things you could do with that to like download SharePoint files, but I don't think that has the ability. I don't think, that could be wrong, but I don't think it would have the ability to upload files to an S3 bucket. Again, I could be wrong, but I know this tool I used for production today in my company, and just kind of show you some of the functionality. If we were to look for, here's SharePoint. So see, there's a SharePoint function to use to be able to get list, like a SharePoint list, be able to, let's see, download files. So let me click on download files, for example. I never done this before, but I know I've seen it here as an option. It just, of course, requires playing around with it. But it has the ability, so you do got to create a connection. I haven't done that yet. Normally a connection is that you provide your credentials for your SharePoint site in this case, and it's kind of saved as a profile. So ultimately you would just kind of click the drop down, pick your credentials. Then from here you select the source, what folder in SharePoint you're going to pull files from. Are you going to pull all files? And then of course they have the destination where you're going to save it to. You're gonna save it most likely somewhere in this server where this application is running. It's gonna save in a folder somewhere. Um, and then of course this would be like a step. It's all more instead of again, it's kind of creating a task, pretty much, right? So this is a task to download SharePoint files. I believe there may be one for AWS. There's an Amazon EC2 instance, but I don't know if there's one for. But here's the thing: even though there's not one for, there's a cloud transfer. I'm just curious on what this is for. There goes bucket container, and then of course provide the destination. Again, I have not done this using this tool yet. What I have done when it comes to uploading, for example, uploading files from this server over to AWS, I use the AWS command line interface, and I do use this job to run that command, right? So like just no different than running just some sort of like terminal running some kind of prompt, but I have it where it's a task, right? The task is maybe to download files from here. Then task 2 is okay. Now we're gonna run the AWS command line interface to push the files over to SharePoint. So that would be one way to do it. I know I done the S3 bucket piece for sure. Can you show to run the command? Yeah. Let me. I have an example real quick. Let me show you an example. Hold on. Let me find the job. I do have a job that does that today. That I use it for today. Let's see. So the software is called Visual Crones. It is a software. It's like a one-time fee that you pay. You pay for the license one time, and you get like a year worth of updates. And after that, if you don't renew, you still keep the software, but you don't get updates right after a year. I don't recall. It's not a cheap software. Like it's not like $100 software, nothing like that. I mean, I believe it cost me maybe. Damn, I don't. I mean, I want to say maybe even $1,500, $1,100. I mean, I don't know. We could look at the price after the fact. I just don't recall the price, but it was anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500. I believe that I had to pay for it. But either way, let me show that one example of uploading files to let's see. So I actually have two jobs. I have one that's downloading files from S3 bucket and one that's uploading. So let's look at the uploading real quick to kind of show you how that looks. Okay, so here's one. This is an actual job that I have running today in production, and it's called I'm uploading XML documents to an S3 bucket. So if we look at the command on what it's doing, this is what it's doing right here. I'm pretty much specifying the command, the AWS.exe file, and which is what you have to install. You have to install the AWS command line interface first, and when you install it, it by default it saves into the same directory path as what I have, which is Amazon AWS CLI v2. And then this is my actual command here. It's actually not that hard, pretty straightforward when you think about it. It's pretty much saying run S3, because the command line interface for AWS, you can run many commands. You can run EC2 command, a glue command, whatever. In this case, it happens to be S3. So it's you know what? Let me make it bigger. I just noticed actually very, very small. So let me copy it and let me put it in here and make it bigger. So this is the actual command that it's running. It's all one line command. You specify the service, which is S3. MV stands for move, because I'm moving files. And then what I'm the second argument is going to be which pass, like which in my network, which file pass am I looking in, like which folder am I looking at that I want to upload all the files from. And then my other argument is going to be where am I going to put it to. So I have a bucket called AXI01001, and of course these are the like subfolders inside that bucket. So I got to specify that. And then of course to finish it off, you pass in the recursion argument. The recursion means get all of the files that exist in this folder here, and then it would upload all of the files to this bucket here. So that's pretty much what this command is doing. How do you get all the files in C drive before moving to S3? So like in your case, if you're going to be downloading files from SharePoint, that's where you would have to have a job that would download files first and drop them into this. Let's say for example, you're dropping them into this folder, and then when you drop them to this folder, when you run, let's say task 2, step 2, step 2 is going to grab those files from that folder and then send them over to this bucket, to this folder in this bucket. And when it does that, it actually, these files that are in here get removed, like deleted, I guess. Like once it uploads it to the S3 bucket, they no longer exist in this folder, no more. So again, you wouldn't have to have a job like the way, if you were using the tool that I'm using, the way you would have to do it, in my mind, would probably be a 2-step process. Step 1 is connect to SharePoint and download all of the files that you want from whatever folder you're looking for. That will be step 1. Step 2 would be run this command to take the files in that folder to upload it to an S3 bucket. So via the software, I can download to on-prem server, like C drive, and then move to S3 bucket. Yes, exactly. Yep, that's exactly the way it works. The server that this application is running on, you would just download it into some kind of C folder, in the C drive, some kind of folder, or whatever drive. It doesn't have to be C drive, whatever other hard drives, network drives you may have connected, but you just download it to that location. And then of course, when you run this step here, you're pretty much going to move all the files from that folder over to your bucket. Make sure to include the recursion at the end, because what that does, it'll grab all the files and upload all of them to S3. And what if it is coming via API? And how do we move to S3? So are you talking about if you don't, when you say API, are you talking about AWS side or are you talking about the SharePoint side? Like which side are you referring to the API? Just want to make sure. Because if you're referring to AWS, and if you're going to run something like the Python script, which ultimately connects to the AWS API for S3, then ultimately you would have to run that script in the API. So there is a few ways. Let me see real quick. I'm trying to think if I have a job. Let me see real quick on some of the. I have not used all of the different features of this software. Only the one that I have really had a need to use. But I think there may be some. Again, this is more if you're using the software. I believe there may be some. I don't know if there is a connection. Again, maybe there is. I'm not sure though. There is a connection for Power Automate. That I will have to look into. Um, I have used Power Automate, but I'm not sure though if they have one. I know they have one to get files from SharePoint. So there is a like a task, I guess, or a connector for that. What I'm not sure though, if they're the connector for AWS services, that I'm not sure. The only reason why I will say maybe not, because Microsoft probably wants to. They probably wouldn't want users to use AWS anyway. They would rather have users use Azure instead of AWS. But again, I would have to look to confirm if that's the case or not. Let's see. I thought there was an HTTP um, service here, like oh yeah, there is one. Never mind, I just saw it. Never mind, I just see it. You have given two really good solutions, one via Python code and second via software you shown. Yeah, so for sure you have options, right? Like you could use the code that I provided. That should work. I mean, based on the testing I did, that does work. If you're trying to stay away from generating any code, then you could probably use something like the tool that I'm using here, Visual Crohn's, something like that. It doesn't have to be this tool. There are other tools, but this is the one that I'm familiar with and I've been using. You could use something like that, and that may work. Just like we saw, there are some jobs like tasks that relate to SharePoint where you could download files. So there is a way to be able to download files from SharePoint using this tool. And I know for a fact you could upload data as well because I've done it before. But it will require you to install the AWS command line interface. Once you install that, it will just be a matter of configuring a command as a task. So when, of course, when they run that task ultimately what it's doing is running the command line, and it would execute that job, right? So there is an HTTP task as well. Um, Let me see. So let's see. So I have to call web services. In this case, if you're calling some sort of API, it'll just be HTTP. Let me go to HTTP. Whether it be get or a post, you call either or. Let's see. Then of course you could provide headers if it requires headers, or even parameters. You know, in the form of raw data. Um, and I believe you're trying to save, like, load content for your API, or let's say you're trying to save the content, right? Let's say you call an API, and whatever data you get back, like a JSON file or an XML file, over here in the save content response section, this is where you could save that information, right? Whatever data you get back, you can save it to a specific folder, give it a certain name, right? Auto name, which generates a random file name for you, and then of course it's there for you to process, to extract, and load it to, or do something with it, right? If that's what you're trying to do. So I do think, I mean, it does have a task for HTTP, and I think this would work for API. If you're trying to call certain APIs, right, and ultimately save that data set. Even if you're trying to post, if you're trying to do a post on this API, it does have that ability as well. You could do a post. You could provide in your body whatever data you're going to provide, or in this case, I think you could load maybe perhaps the data. Again, I haven't played around with it as much, but let's see how you worked on data. Well, let's see. When should we use it? Like, say, I am using AWS S3, Glue for ETL, Redshift for data warehouse. Um, I really haven't worked on the Databricks. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but again, I really that's not something I really have tested out yet or played around with it yet. So, oops, what happened here? The hell? Damn, something's acting funny now on my computer. Okay, that was odd. Um, what the hell's going on here, man? That was odd. Something odd happened. Yeah, I don't have I really haven't used that as much. I'm familiar with again as everything else that you mentioned. I'm very familiar with because I do use we actually use that on a daily basis. You know, Glue. We use Redshift for a data warehouse. Again, S3 to kind of you know pretty much for storage of our file that we're going to be processing with Glue, and then of course to archive and do all of that. EC2 instances. Um, all of that. So I mean, I'm very familiar with that because I do use it all the time, but I have not used um, the data bricks that you mentioned. Again, I'm a little bit aware of it. I just haven't played around with it, so I'm not that familiar with it. So yeah, can't really give you an answer on that one as much. I wanted to do some more research on it before I could kind of give a better answer, I guess, to that. But you have your options, man. There are options on what you're trying to do. I think if your goal is we want to move files from again SharePoint over to AWS, there is multiple ways to do that. It just kind of depends on how you want to come about of doing it, right? Like, do you want to use no code, for example? So that works. There are some ways to do it that way as well. Kind of like the tool that I used. The only thing that you would have to do is, at the minimum, you know, install AWS command line interface. But once you do that, you could at least run command lines on and the, you know include it into a task, and that'll kind of run execute every step. So at least from a managing standpoint, there's not really code involved. At the minimum, it would just be more of a command line, you know, that the user will have to get used to. I guess you could say. Let's see, what's EC2 and what is it used for? Consider my use case. When I get data from SharePoint, then pass via S3 glued Redshift, any use EC2 will provide? No, EC2 wouldn't really provide you any usage for what you're doing. If all you're doing is more trying to collect data, right? Process data, and your end goal is to kind of load it to a Redshift database for the purpose of reporting or things of that nature, analytics. There's no need for an EC2 instance. EC2 instance, all it is a virtual machine. Think of it that so that's all it. It's a server that you can run, no different, than any other server, any other computer. Um, I have EC2 instances, but they're for different cases. Like for example, I have I think I have like five that are active right now that I'm using, and I have like three other ones that are deactivated. But for me, I have one that's used for dev, and it's used for web apps that we develop. So as we do our testing, we develop, we deploy it to that EC2 instance. Again, it's a server. In this case, it happens to be a Linux server. So we deploy our code to that to do testing, right? It's a dev server. Then we have a production server as well. Same thing. It's a Linux server that we're operating. It pretty much mirrors the development or the pre-production server that we have. And then once every testing and everything has been done, then we deploy it to the production server. And ultimately, we host the apps for our clients. So, they just use it, right? We manage it and we deploy it to that server. But again, an EC2 instance, all it is a virtual machine at the end of the day. Just that's all it is. So in your case, I don't see a need for you to have that, especially if your main goal is to kind of move data over to your data warehouse. All you need is a Redshift for your data warehouse. Besides that, you could archive your files in an S3 bucket. Eventually, over time, if you're dealing with large amounts of data, you could probably move it to an S3 Glacier, which is cheaper, but that's kind of like slow moving data, right? Like you're not really going to be touching it often, very rarely, for special cases. You move it there and, of course, reduce your costs. But again, that's only if you're dealing with large files and lots of them. If you're dealing with 1,000, 5,000, even 10,000 files, and none of them are that big, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. You're not going to save as much, I guess, compared to dealing with 10,000 files, but each file happens to be 100 gig file. Then that's where there'll be a big savings to move it to an S3 Glacier bucket, and your price, there'll be some big savings there. But I think you're good, man, on your side. Hey, man, I do appreciate it, man, for joining the live stream. Um, I don't know if you're a follower or not. I've been getting more and more followers lately, so I'm not sure if you are or not. But one of the things, just want to let you know, one of the something that I've been talking about on some of my live streams. So if you're not familiar with it, just so you're aware of it, I'm gonna be giving away some of my items that that I have. And one of the items that I have, that my first, I guess, giveaway, right, that I'm gonna be giving away. So if you're in the need of a keyboard, if you want one, this is the keyboard I'm gonna be giving away, the Microsoft Ergonomic Desktop. So I'm gonna be doing a drawing of this at the end of the month. So I'll be explaining a little bit later, probably in the next couple of days, of like how to, I guess, qualify for it, right? Or you want, the only thing I'm asking is to be a follower. And then, of course, I'm going to kind of give you steps on, if you're interested in it, how to message me so I know that you're interested in it. And then I'll do a raffle and I'll be giving that away. So I'm going to be doing that with pretty much every month going forward. I'm a tech guy. I have a lot of extra equipment. I have many keyboards. I have a few CPUs even. I have one GPU. I have a few mice. I have a motherboard. I have some RAM. I just have all kinds of different equipment. So I'm going to start slowly giving away to my followers that need it anyways. So, yeah, I'll let you know. So I have a series every Friday called Drinking with Lou. And ultimately what I do is I try new drinks, and because it's Friday, like to relax, we'll have a drink. Some of my viewers that are joining, they kind of tell me what they're drinking, and we talk tech. We actually, in that on Fridays, on my live stream on Fridays, we talk tech. We solve problems, like we actually write up code. We test out the code. We'll try to, things of, whoever's whatever, the viewer may have, right? So if you do have any kind of code issues that you may need help with or something, that's probably the perfect time to join on that live stream on Fridays. It's from 9 p.m. Central to 11 p.m. Central. And normally that's what we do often. There've been many times where viewers join on and they're like, "Hey, can you help me solve this problem?" And then of course we actually code it out. I code it out and we solve it live, and try to get whatever issues that people may have solved, right? Code related. So again, if you ever have any kind of code issue, like you do need help, like really, and you want me to dig into your code, or maybe you just like, hey, how do I solve this problem? Like, how do I connect to this API? How do I connect to this or whatever? That's the perfect time to join, because that's when we actually do, I get hands on and I start coding up and start trying to solve these problems. So, um, you know, yeah, that would be a perfect time. Let's see. When will you have this again? Okay, so yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about my live streams. So I, I'm I'm starting to do more live streams. So I'm kind of working on a schedule for that. But for sure, every Fridays from 9 p.m. Central to 11 p.m. Central, even longer. Sometimes I'm on to by midnight. But from 9 to 11 at least every Friday, you can find me on my live stream. And I'm gonna start doing some other live streams throughout the week. Um, and they're probably gonna be either on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Um, one of those 2 days. So today I did it today, so I may not do it tomorrow. But it's gonna be either Monday, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but for sure Fridays. Every Friday, 9 p.m., 11 p.m. So by all means, if you are available, if you want to join, then that's a perfect time to join. And then again, we'll be solving some coding problems if you have any, or if you want to review anything, that's like the perfect time to just code it up, test it out. Even if we want to test out the different scenarios of if we can make this work, or what can we do to make this work, that will be the time that we'll do all of that as well. Um, so let's see. RJDP says, "Hi sir, thanks for all the SharePoint tutorials you uploaded. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you like it and you're finding it useful. I mean, that's kind of at least my goal, anyways. Hopefully, some of the videos that I'm making are helping, are being beneficial, and and I'm kind of building a schedule as well. So you should start seeing more consistent videos coming out every week. Um, so, all right, let's see. Awesome. I will make sure to join Friday. Yes. Need help with web scraping, task scraping, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, man. That sounds good, man. So, again, go ahead and join us in the live stream Friday. And by all means, man, whatever you have, we can start doing some testing. I could try to help you out on whatever you have. So, again, we'll code it up live, test it out, and try to get things figured out for sure. Yeah, you know what? That's interesting that you mentioned about Salesforce. I actually just created a dev account for Salesforce, so I am gonna start digging into that as well, into Salesforce API. I created a sandbox environment for Salesforce already, so I have that set up. So that is to come. I am gonna be making some videos over Salesforce as well. So be on the lookout for that. I do got a few other videos though that I kind of already have in the queue that I'm going to knock out first, but Salesforce is part of the mix. So yeah, I'll be making some videos for sure related to that. All right, man. I'm glad y'all liking this, man. Again, hopefully it helps y'all out. Um, let's see. Quick question: have you made any automations for one stream Python? Same like you did for SharePoint. I have not one stream. No, Um, so would this be for the one stream, which I'm assuming you're talk? Let's see. Hopefully my stream didn't get cut off. I don't know why. I just noticed right now it says my chat got disconnected, but I do show that it reconnected anyways. So hopefully my stream is still good. Yeah, for the one stream Python, that's something I will have to look into, do some research. Um, but no, I haven't done anything related to that though. All right, guys. So I'm actually gonna call it a night. It's already, what time is it? 11 p.m. my time. Um, so again, on Fridays, man, we're gonna have my series, drinking with Lou. So I'm gonna be tasting new tequilas because that's my drink of choice, and we're gonna be coding. We're gonna be again. So any problems that you have, anything that you maybe want me to try to help you out with to solve, join Friday. Let me know what it is. You're more than welcome to email me if there's any kind of code that you have that you want me to review as well. I'll put it on the chat, but you can email me at contact@iamlou.net. And of course, so nobody could see that. It would just kind of be between me and you if that's the case. But again, on Fridays, 9 p.m. Central, through 11 p.m. or until we finish, right? If we're in the zone and getting things solved and getting things done, by all means, we'll go all night. But joins in, and again, man, I'm gonna be talking more about my giveaway in the next couple of days. So my first giveaway is gonna be the Microsoft ergonomic desktop keyboard, which I showed in the back. Kind of hard to see, but it's back there in the back. So that's going to be my first giveaway. If you're interested in it, I'll be making a video with some more details so you could, know what to do to try to, be part of that raffle. And then I'm going to do a live raffle on my live stream. So whoever I pick, of my followers, they'll get it, right. I'll ship it out to them for free. Then of course I'll be giving away something every month going forward. Probably be a motherboard, some RAM, things of that nature, right? So if you need any equipment, I'll be giving away some of my equipment. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I am going to be streaming more often as well during the week. So, besides Fridays, it'll be Tuesdays or Wednesdays as well. So I am going to be streaming more. So I'm going to start putting a schedule and put a schedule out there so everybody kind of is more familiar. So if you do have issues as well, we could try to solve some of the issues during the week as well. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully talk to y'all